All right, video time. Let's do it. 3 version 3.0 SP404 version 3.0. Tons of great stuff in there. I honestly hadn't touched the SP in a hot minute. Let's see, it's been 8 months since the last update. That was August 2022. And for a while, I was like heavily using it, and then I kind of just like fell off and went to Ableton, went to Drumbo, went to back to the iPad for a little bit. I drift around. I'll be honest. I'm not stuck to one thing. Sorry, I got all these wires here. I'm trying to move stuff around. But I got back on it, enjoying it. And yeah, so I just figured I would. So my first thing back on it was obviously get the update. I love the fact that you got up to a terabyte on an SD card because I was rocking this and I was nervous and really didn't want to put a lot of samples on it because I didn't want to crowd it up because I got a ton of drums and I'd rather have my drums and things of that nature. But now I'm so far from afraid now because we got so much room we can add to it. I don't like the whole memory jumping around here, grabbing that card, this card. I'd rather just have one card, and that's kind of what I've done. I took my 512 gig card that I had in the computer because I have another terabyte hard drive and put that formatted, put it in here, got everything set up with the new stuff. First thing I'm jumping on is now the SP had mutes, but now that they can record mutes, I think that's great. I need to learn how to use a lot of this stuff. I'm just telling you the things I like. But the first thing I did was got back in and started recording some to make sure my memory wasn't lapsed. But along the way, I did try a few things out. Like one, the app for it now is super useful because you can use it inside the DAW. So like in Ableton, it's basically allowing me to drop my samples in and out of it. I don't want to put that on screen. I could do it later, maybe if somebody really wants to see it, because the reality is I got to crank up the computer. I gotta get the camera turned different direction. If I had multiple cameras, this wouldn't be a thing. And if I was doing editing, I guess it still wouldn't be a thing. But I don't want to do all that extraness right now. But I do want to say that one of the coolest things since getting back on it again is the iPad. Using the iPad with this little guy dongle that you've seen me talk about so many times. And of course, this cable that I got all around, which I also have the one for the iPhone, which is actually fun too, because a lot of times I just want to grab the iPhone, I don't feel like dealing with it. But when I really want to get into an instrument or whatever, like this song I just did, I'm going to share it with you. I use the iPad, and I actually decided that this would be the workflow kind of deal I would use, which is pretty much I'm going to label each one of there's 16 projects in an SP. Okay, when you hit Shift, Subpad, there's your projects. And right now, I think I'm on number 7. I've had it for almost over a year now, and I've only gotten 7. It's because a lot of times I would just use the drums and just play them into the Ableton, so I wasn't making a full project in here. But I decided to do this type of project. Oh, it's gonna load, where I get all my instruments ready that I want to use for the song, or at least the ones I start with that I want to use, and then I take the SP. I name it SP Pro as in project 7, which is the bank number, and then, or 7 bank. I could have put bank 7. That would have made more sense. Whatever. Because this is technically the banks. This is project 7. So I did name it right, actually. Bank D. And then I put the BPM of the song. So I just started loading in drums. If you go Shift here, I'm bypass right now. If I throw some compression on it, I love different tries with different ones here. Cassette lo-fi is cool. It's fun. But for right now, we'll just bypass, because I personally think, like, if I'm going to add effects, I want to do it at the end of everything, but I want to create the song without it initially to see. So, and I've been loving, I wish they would just go ahead. Like the 303 is amazing in here, but I got this one online that I've shown you guys from, what is it? Oh, Lord. Good Hurts. Good Hurts makes that 303. And I like theirs a lot better than the one in here. This one's good, though. But the one in there, I think, is a little bit better, in my opinion. And it works great in my DAW, and I just have it all set up the way I want it. I don't have to do a lot of stuff. But The SP still has the best effects in a box to me, hands down. I can't think of no other groove box or drum machine that has better effects than that. So I'll leave that at that. I mean, that's just really up to interpretation of how you feel about it. So anyway, here they are. 3 hats. I got a low, medium, high hat. And then I always put like a little open hat there. And everything on these are always in the mute group. So you shift 8, throw them in a mute group. Okay. The drumming on here is so much better. Whatever they did to fix it, whatever enhancements they did, for some reason, and it's not because I'm a better drummer. That is for sure. It's because I'm definitely not the better drummer. But they allow the fact that now you can quantize different parts. And on top of that, I think it's the loop connects better. It was really hard and challenging at times to get a simple drum pattern without the quantize on to just loop right. And even with the quantize, sometimes it'd be off a little bit. And now I feel like it's just so much better. And that could be they just fixed it. I don't 100% know. But I do know that you can record now into it and use it more like a DAW with the source on. And as long as you don't monitor from the actual DAW, you don't get any feedback. So that's kind of dope too. There's a ton of DJ effects. I've never used the DJ mode in here, so I can't even talk on that. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that uses it. They can speak better on it. I'm not going to get into that. I still record the same way here, pretty much like I've shown in other videos. That's probably not going to change much unless they do something that makes me feel like I should go change it, especially if you're recording instruments in. You got to use the external in, and you got to set it up that way. I'm trying not to get no copyright stuff here, so I'm going to cut that off. But I was making this song, and if you've ever heard the DeBarge, or the, what is it? Is it the DeBarge? I think it's DeBarge. The Ooh and I Like It song, if you're familiar with that. So I didn't even think of that till later, but the track just made me feel that way. This bass is me playing in with the bass guitar. The keys that you're going to hear are from Decent Sampler. I've talked about this before. I enjoy this color. I can pronounce this when I'm not thinking, and all of a sudden now I'm lost. Claustrophobic. Okay. It's not like it's hard. It's just my brain had a moment there, I guess. Claustrophobic, using tonality for the chords. Here's what chords I use. That's it. Pretty much that's it, right? Okay. Then little percussive stuff from here. You only got to get one little good riff in for like a 2-bar or something like that. Or if you want to do more, you can. And you can pretty much loop it, drop it, whatever you want to do. Throw in some drums, right? And then I went back and grabbed these little samples. I'll let you hear what they sound like. They don't 100% mesh, but I tried to beat sync. Try to beat sync them a little to where it'll work. Okay. So then here's what it sounds like together. Put it together. This is the beat with everything without the... Oh, I didn't even tell you about the mono note is doing the like paddy sounds in there. And I was just having fun. I wasn't even thinking about the bass following anything. Because ironically, I did the bass second, which is not the way I usually work. But then if you listen to it, let's play it, watch, and you see. Anyway, it just kind of fit. It doesn't really fit. I'm just making it fit. Because I didn't play that song, but whatever. And hopefully I won't get a copyright strike for just playing that little sample. I wasn't going to do it, but then I just like, well, whatever. Oh, on that portion, I'm using the beat sync on these vocal parts. If you take it off, let's see if I take it off on this one. All right, so then let's play it. All right, so one of the things it does now that's really cool is it allows you to with the mute, it allows you to record the mutes and the motion. So that's kind of dope. If you want to go in, set. Oh no, I didn't mean to press that. Go into your pattern mode. This is one where I dropped out. I'll show you that in a second. Basically, you can drop out parts. That was already in there though. It wasn't something new. So let's say you recorded all your parts in this one, and then you make 4 copies. You can go back in and hit pattern edit and drop out the parts that you want to do. It'll let you delete them if you want. So what you do is you go, let's say you picked this pattern. We're going to copy this pattern to 8 because I'm going to delete it afterwards. Okay. Then you could go in and hit pattern edit, select that pattern. And let's say you want to take the drums out. Then all you would do is hit delete, hold down delete. And then you're going to take the drums out because it's the last part you touch. So it'll tell you right here, pattern 8. And then just, right, now they're gone. And then hit enter. And now it's gone. Maybe you want the bass out of there too. Just stop it, hold down delete. And the bass is on the 1. So here we go. Let's remove the bass. So now you have this. Now there is a way to take parts and just add them all together. I forgot, though I need to study the manual. So I'm just doing this as a quick video, just show you some of the things. Some of this stuff is not new, some of it is. Okay, so we'll keep that part. We'll just, I'm gonna go shift, exchange, hit there, put it on 6, and that's just moving the pads around. All right, so we'll exit out of there. We're still in pattern mode. So one of the things, like, let's say you do a part, let me see. All right, so I'm gonna take these drums and I'm gonna copy over to here, enter, just moved it here. So now that's the same pattern with the bass, but I wanna remove the bass. So I'm gonna hit pattern edit, hold down delete, remove the bass. Now I got the drums by themselves. So simple as that. It seems like a lot when I'm sitting here doing it because button mashing, but once you get used to it, and if you see something flashing, that means you can actively mark it. So a light that's flashing like that can be used for something, whatever the case may be. So let's say we're here. There's your motion, right? Motion on, motion off. So if you have motion on, right now it's flashing. So if motion's on, whatever you do, if you put one of these on, or if you turn a knob, it's going to record that motion into here. And then the mark button is for skip back. We already know that. So you could do your skip back if you want. I don't care about that right now. All right, back to this. All right, so you have your drums. So let's say you want, these drums don't sound quantized to you for some reason. You want something in it to quantize. Like let's say you want the, let's say you want the kick. I don't know why I would do that. But anyway, I was trying to think of something that you would really use, but my brain having a moment, I guess. All right, so there's a sample. So then if you hit shift and record settings, I don't even know if you got to hit shift record. Let me exit out and do it. All right, so we're here, right? If you hit the pattern edit, the grid is actually up there. So you don't have to hit shift record. I don't know what I was hitting shift record. Why did I hit shift record? Oh, that's to change the start of the loop. Okay, I'm tripping. But if it's already on the start of the loop thing that you can see right here, hopefully you can see it, then you have to hit the record to switch back over to the quantize. So now you can set your quantize, and you might not be able to see that. Hopefully you can see that. All right. So quantize, so you use the third knob, which is right here, is for your strength. And then this knob is for the amount of quantize. So let's put the kicks, let's put them on 16. And then all you got to do is you got to hit the pad you want. So I'm going to put the kick. I'm trying to keep this in view for you. So I hit the kick. You can see it's the one lit. These aren't. Then hit the enter button. Then it's going to ask you if you want a quantized pattern. It says cannot undo. So that's the thing. I'm doing this on a separate one so I don't mess up with our ad because I like the way I had it. But I'm going to say okay. And now you have a... But what you lose when you do that, they say you can't undo it, but technically if you go in the step sequencer, you could remove the kicks if you want, or you could delete the kicks out and redo the kicks if you thought it was bad. So don't get caught up in you can't undo. It's just you. This is why copying a pad and having an additional one is better. Because yeah, if you get rid of it, you kind of lose it. There's no undo on that. All right. I am going to exit out of here, hit delete. Get rid of that because that was just to show you. I like the way the drums were swinging on that, so I'm not going to change anything. I might have added a shuffle on that and don't even remember, to be honest with you. But it is what it is, you know. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see everything. All right, so yeah, so there's what you have. Okay, so back to next thing. I should start writing some of this down because I know it takes up too much time if I don't. I'll end up sitting there just talking. All right, so you have your parts. There's always been the case of if you start a part like here, right? If I start this, I'm gonna turn it down so you can kind of hear me, right? That you could go reverse. Is it shift reverse? You could go out of the pattern and go shift reverse and drop out something. Right? Hold shift reverse and do your mutes. Where's this gate coming from? I don't know. Okay. All right, so you have that. But then there is a new feature or thing. I want to say it's shift reverse remain. Oh, wait, what did I just do? Pad mute mode motion. Okay. Off, on. What is off or on? So there's an M in this corner. I don't know if you can see that if I zoom in even. It's kind of hard to see from right there in the corner. When that is on, that means motion is on. So it's going to record your mutes. So if you turn that off, then you could just mute freely in practice, right? So shift, reverse, remain. I know that sounds like a lot. It's really not that bad though. It would be, of course, there would be all kinds of easier ways, but you got a smaller box. It's portable. There's a lot of different functions. You're trying to fill it all in here. You can't have too many buttons. You'll be struggling anyway, even with that. But anyway, all right, so you're here. You got something planned. The simple way is just hit shift reverse, go back, shift reverse. Okay. Another thing I thought about too is you could pad link stuff together technically. I don't know for this for a fact. I'm thinking that you can do this. So let's say you pad link. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So pad link, exit out. Shift here. Let's go here. Why is that under pad link? I have no clue. So let's say you want to link some pads. Cannot. Okay, if they're in a mute group, you can't pad link them. But if you didn't have them in a mute group, let's just say all you had was these three and they were your kicks. Let's just try this. You can pad link them together. All right, we're going to exit. They're linked. That just means they hit at the same time. But let's see if we press play on the song. Oh, you can't do that. For sure you can't. All right, because it'll play them at the same time. So make sure you take them off the pad link. All right, good. All right. I was thinking in my mind, I had some little thought you could pad link these together. So when you hit mute, it would just mute your drums all at once. But I'm going to show you a trick that they added that will allow you to do it. So let's say you got all the parts ready, but you want, all right, why did I do that? You want your drums to be together because the reality is you want to be able to just mute them at the same time, because maybe you don't want to have each one individual right when you're trying to perform it, then you could just resample in the pattern mode. So this is something new here. So if you're in here, let's say, all right, let's make a copy of this again. Okay, here's a copy, right? So what we want to do is we want to take the bass out of that first. So we're going to go in, we'll go pattern edit, select the pattern, hit delete, remove the bass, gone. So now you just have your drums. But you want these drums to be on the front page or your main without being in the pattern. So now they added where you can copy a pattern. And if you look up here, now you'll see, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. It says pattern P7. P7 is, there's a project 7, right? But then there's patterns in here. So that's project 7, and here's the patterns. So if you want to put it in the samples, you hit the remain. It says remain, samples to copy. So what you do is hit that, and then you can copy the samples out of it, right? If you want to take certain samples that you want to copy to another one and you want to remove stuff, or I'm going to exit out, I'm going to hit the remain again. You can back out of this page and copy it to the front page where it's just on your regular, not, I don't want to say patterns, your regular page. I'm going to call it that for lack of better words. So now I can do that and I say, my sample page. It can copy the pattern to the sample. So in Koala, you basically export your sequence, right, to one of the pads. This is basically the same thing. Hit this button here. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. You got to fix that. Exit out. All right, so there's the drums, right? So then hit remain, or don't hit remain. There's the drums. And then so hit out, and now you're going to put this on a sample. No sample selected. That's not true. Oh, maybe I didn't. What happened there? I just did this too. This is what's crazy. All right, so you're supposed to be able to copy a pattern to a sample. So exit out of there. Let's just exit out and do that over. All right, so here's a pattern. All right, so you should be able to go copy pattern. Then you go over here, and instead of changing this pattern, because if you change it, and then let's just try a different spot. Maybe it's having a moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm having a moment. Who knows? All right. And then we're going to go back here. So now it's saying sample. So we're going to copy that pattern to a sample. There you go. I don't know if it just don't like pad 7 or what, because or maybe it's confusing it when you try to do a 7 and a 7 or something. But that's not true because I've done it already that way. So I tried it a few times to see, make sure I wasn't fooling myself. So it's just having a moment. Whatever. We all have those. It's okay, SP. Just joking. Anyway, it takes a little time, but that's okay. So now you have, you take the gate off. You have a perfect loop. And if you want to just loop it, just loop it. See, in there, it shows you in there, that's the loop. All right, so now you got a perfect loop. So watch this. If you want to, you could go, I'm going to stop it for right now. You could go up to each one of these, throw them on a loop. All right. By the way, you can hit exit and hit the pads and it'll stop them all. Now you could go. So they kind of fixed that too because before, if I remember right, there was no way to sync these patterns up. But now if I just, they should be fixed too. If you're gonna do this, you probably want them fixed. Did it put it on fixed? Okay, good. So wherever the volume levels are, so they. And by the way, you can stop them on when they're in loop. You can stop them like that, so you don't have to hit the exit. watch this. Oh, turn that back on. So now you could link these together, right? So you could go pad link. You want them to play all at the same time. I'm going to put them on this one. Okay, and then you should be, well, you can't sync them. I guess you can only link 4 at a time. All right, so you can only do 4 at a time. That's okay. So, so watch. Now you could go. See that? You can stop them all separate. They should stop together separate. They do. They stop. But if you want to take one out, you can take one out and they're still in time. So that's pretty cool. So I started them all together, but I want to mute. So I hit that, bring it right back, and it's still in time. As long as they're in loop. Then hit Shift Exit if you want to kill it all that's in. So it's little functions. I mean, you can't see nothing going on here. I'm so zoomed in. I apologize. Okay. So basically what I did was I'm going to shift exchange. I'm going to move this up here where I wanted it in the first place, so that everything's close by each other, right? So this one's not on a mute group. It's a drums by itself. But because you got them all looped, now this will start all together when you do that. So you have to figure out, do I want all these to start together or do I want them separate? But either way, if they're all on a loop, right? Shift reversed, and you can drop something out. Bring them back, they're gonna be on time. Okay. Anyway, all kinds of crazy stuff you could do. Turn off the loop. Okay, and then I'm going to unpad link these because that's not how I want them. But so there you go. And there's the drums by themselves. So you could do that. I mean, if you got the ability to time it perfectly, I could do it, but and they made it pretty good where now stuff is synced. Before you did that, you wouldn't, no way you were getting that stuff to sound that good. And that's why I think a lot of people are frustrated. Like, man, we got a new box and you can't even like time stuff and get it on point. And before, I guess way before that, they didn't have any of that, but they were used to that. Then when you get something new and it has the ability, you wonder why. And I get it. I understand too. I'll be frustrated about that. All right. So let's keep it going. Some more stuff. So this is going to be more about what I like and what I've discovered. And some stuff is obvious and some stuff I don't use. Probably won't use a lot of this stuff. But I tell you what, that app inside of the plugin inside of Ableton, I'll definitely use that. And I'll occasionally make some songs on this too. It's fun. It's a break from the norm to get away. And then it gives me something to record the iPad into, which I like. So it's kind of fun to get my instruments into if I'm not going to turn on the computer. So if I turn on the computer, obviously the instruments are better on the computer, but you know, and that's all subjective, but I'm just saying in my opinion, they're better. All right. What was the other thing that was really, I know I'm missing it. Oh, in the menu, let's go into here. So import utility. So your card, obviously, you know, you can have up to 1 terabyte now. Let's do this real quick. When you first turn it on, you put a large memory card in there, the bigger the memory card. Sometimes for some reason, You can see I've already pressed this. We're still waiting. It just takes a long time the first time you go in. I don't understand that. I wish they would. That's something I think they should fix. It shouldn't take that long to get into a memory card. But as you can see, we're still waiting, and now it's ready. So now once you go in, watch this, exit out, shift, it goes in fast. There's no problem. It's just for whatever reason that first step. All right, so I have all the drums in here. So I'm going to show you this. Let's go to this one. All right, I'm just picking one here. So check this out. They added some cool functions. Before you had to hit the sub. Now you still can hit the sub pad and listen to each one. But now watch this. Just like the MPC. Preview on the sample. See? And if you hit shift and hold it down, you can select multiple ones in a folder and bring them in. And then if you press the pad, I haven't done this yet. I probably should do this. Let's jump over a bank here. There's nothing on this bank. Let's try this. Enter. Yeah, so it follows from the top one down. It follows and puts it in. So that's pretty cool. You guys just saw that with me. That was my first time trying it too. Don't worry. That's cool. All right, so the only thing I would say is if you got to get out of there to delete because maybe you don't want these, you got to go out. That's what it is. It's not that big deal. Everything's shift. Shift is the main thing that you're going to use the most, right? Almost everything. All right, shift. Let's go back to Apollo so I can show you the other feature. All right, so you saw a couple features in one. Well, you saw the fact that you could bring multiple samples in at one time, and you saw that you could preview them, as you see here. But you can do something else. If you hold down mark, it will jump faster, it moves through the screen faster. See? So you could go from like the bottom to the top almost in like seconds now. So that's cool because when we would go in, I would say I'm going through sounds, I get to the bottom. Oh wait, the sound was up at like number 20 or something. All right, cool. Right, I don't have to go through each one 100 times just to get back from where it will drive you crazy. So yeah, so they made mark so you can go faster, really fast, and then shift highlights, and you don't have to press sub to listen, but you still can press it later if you want. I'm not gonna be pressing it. What's the point? I might as well do it this way. I think this is great. All right, let's see what else in here. I think that's it for this one. That I wanted to show you on that part. And then I'm going to show you one more feature that I'm trying to think which ones. There's a few. There's a latency thing I found if you hit, I think it's sub, shift. This is the problem because you got to remember all these things. It could be, I don't know what I did there. Let's exit out of that. I'll figure that one out. If I had these notes in front of me, I would better tell you. But it's a latency mode they added. And if I can pull it up here, and it doesn't, I actually downloaded the manual for the first time because I was like, there ain't no way in the world I'm going to remember all this stuff with this latency thing that they added. I pressed it on like one time and then I completely forgot what in the world I did. That's just what happens when you get older, I guess. All right, let's see if I can find it. I don't see it. All right. I did a video a while back on the motion stuff, the basic motion stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm going to shift here and take that fixed off. I don't really think I would ever use that as much. Maybe, I could see it coming in handy when you're using the step sequencer. If you're going to do the step pattern thing and you want to add some motion to the hi-hats. But the mute pad motion that I showed you on here, which is shift, I think it was shift, reverse, remain. That one is pretty, I think it's super usable. I think it's, I think it's a worthy cause. Let's see, 143 it says is my page, match my shortcuts. Gain, pad settings. Okay, we know those are basic. Shortcuts to use remain. I'm just trying to find out where the thing is that tells me the latency. I was like shocked when I saw that, but it's definitely on their website. It's something they added with regards to latency. I never recall having, you know what, I did have a couple of things with it's basically like a latency when you hit a certain amount of pads at the same time. Then I guess somebody had latency issues with that. I would notice the latency stuff with the drums in general. Like sometimes the drums would be so off. And I'm like, man, I know I'm not like a great drummer, but am I that bad where I can't even get like a snare on the 2 and the 4? So that would kind of frustrate me a little bit. And honestly, whatever they've done, I feel like it's way better than it used to be because goodness, I was shocked that it actually worked. Let me show you the quantize, because I think that's something that the quantize is something that everybody, for the most part, is going to want to know that you can do it now afterwards. There's also like an automation type thing that's available. And if you have issues with clicks and pops, they've given something in there for that. But yeah, let's do the quantize thing. So in order to do that, we need to put some drums in. So let's do that. Let's put some, I'm going to breeze through these menus a little bit faster than I probably would if I was trying to show you something. So I'm going to use that one. That's fine. All right. And snare. We'll use that one. Hats. Use that one. All right. So one of the things also that you can do now is if you want to go, let's say you go to the envelope. Okay, you can hit remain. We're in this bank, right? And whatever you do adjust here is going to, like if you adjust the tack on something, it's going to adjust. So I'm going to just do that. And then it should, yeah, see how they're all. So that could come in handy for a shift here. Take the gate off of everything. It's little combinations like the shift gate. When you first get into a bank, take the gate off if you don't want the gate on. So you, especially on drums, you want them things to ring out. So that's that. Oh, you can, when you're in this pitch speed, if you hit remain and because you're on this bank, it'll do it the same thing that you change here to all the samples. So I'm going to change these samples down to maybe like 90. So now watch. Every pad is going to be at 90. But in drums, I might, and sorry about the shaking, the camera's connected to this table, so it's going to. I might change each one. I'm not like the kind of person where it's like, oh, I need everything to be this on this type of stuff. But on the samples, yes, if I'm going to sample something. And that makes sense to me. But so it really just depends on what you're personally going to be doing, with whether you're going to be doing sampling or whether you're just going to be like putting your own, like recording something into it. Because I don't guess you really need it on some settings. Okay, let's look. So I found the page that I was looking for, and I would show you, but it would require me to do a bunch of turning around of this camera. And that'll drive some people crazy, like myself, actually, because I hate videos when the camera's moving like that much, especially in my shaky hands. But I did find it. I'm trying to see where it is. It says, I think it's under other. Man, where is that thing at? I am going to show you the MIDI situation. They did fix on the speed on this right here. If you look here where it says manual, you can change it to this, and you can do micro, not that, I didn't mean to turn that. I don't even know where that was, whatever. If you go here, now you can do micro. So it's like 90.0 something or whatever. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to leave it at manual. Then there's auto. Man, what? I hate when I find something. I should have. This is why you have to write stuff down, I guess, these days. Trying to remember when you want to go back what something was or does sometimes can be a bit taxing on the brain. Okay. I don't want to spend all. We already been 40 minutes deep. It's going to be a long video just because I'm showing you different things. So, all right. So you see that you can change all that stuff pretty much now with less mashing buttons but you know, part of doing hardware to me is the fact of you're going to mash buttons. If you don't want to mash buttons, just stick with software and just do the clicks, because that's what the software allows you to do, more clicks. You set stuff, maybe use presets. Here you're going to be actually doing some manual labor. We don't know what that is these days. Most of us don't know what this is, because we have so much stuff that does it for us, right? But yeah, it's going to be some manual labor involved, and it means you got to turn a knob and press a button occasionally. So if you don't like that, the SP is not for you. I will say, even with MPC, there is some button mashing and knobs pressing and touch screen touching or whatever. So if you don't like that, to me, the MPC reminds me of a DAW with a controller. Is just how I feel about it. That's what it reminds me of. Is it amazing? Of course. Is it have all the features? It has more features than most, and it really is a quality tool. I'm just saying the SP takes me back a little bit. You got to do some work, okay, to get around, and it is not just a easy fix. Man, I'm sad I can't find this one thing I wanted to show you. But maybe I'll show it in another video once I'm able to find it again. But it's something to do with the latency they fixed. And it's a combination of buttons. You don't have to press it all the time. You just turn it on, and it helps with the latency in there. And I'm so sad that I can't find this for you. Because I know I found it because I did it, but now, it was one of those things where I guess I would never touch it again, so I forgot it. All right, moving on. Next thing. So, I was going to show you, what was the other thing? Oh, the MIDI. So, Shift 13, which is the system. Go into the system, and you'll see at the bottom a couple things. One, now in the DJ mode, there's a type of mode that you use, and you got the bend sensitivity for bending, I guess pitch bending or whatever. Let's go up, go to MIDI. So you're gonna use your third dial, which is over here, 1 2 3. This one doesn't count as your volume. All right, so go to MIDI. All right, so in the MIDI now you can sync. So you can sync other devices. So if you have like a rolling drum machine of some sort that has the MIDI ability to sync, you can do that and control it from here. It'll play in time and all that good jazz. There's that bend sync thing again. Pad note on. Right past MIDI to the PCRX, whatever. I still don't understand what that means, but MIDI mode. Now, if you click it, there's an A, which is the original. So what they did on the original is there was one channel 1, let's say, right? MIDI channel. And everything in those banks were on that same channel. I mean, not on the same channel. They would be channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and it would go each bank all the way down on channels. And so you couldn't get in a thing like Koala and be able to program all your 4 section of the pads because you had to change the channel that everything was on every time. It was annoying. So what they did was they came up with a clever way. And this is cool too for Ableton, because now in Ableton you got your two different channels represent the actual drum rack, right? So now A, B, C, D, E are on channel 1, and F, G, H, I, J is all on channel 2. So that means in Koala you only need 4 banks, A, B, C, D. So your first 4 banks, you can MIDI map them now and you'll be good. So you have to change it to MIDI mode. Let me see if I can zoom in without messing up here. MIDI mode, it's normally going to be on A. You got to switch it over to B, and it'll say 1/2 channels. Okay. Everything was so bad in the previous version with that. I didn't even use Koala that way because I was like, what's the point? You could map like 16, but you couldn't get the rest of them. And I was like, so I'm basically just might as well use the SP. What's the point, you know, type thing. So now that's fixed. Let me go back in here and show you one more. Okay. There's an anti-feedback. I'm trying to get there. Right here. I need to turn that on. I hadn't even turned it on mine. Anti-feedback. I read about that. So I guess they added that for the microphone and the input so that you get no feedback. Now, I don't know if that's a loop, what do they call it? A loop back feature. I doubt it. I think they would have called it a loop back, but it is anti-feedback, and I'll take that any time of the day because the worst thing is to get feedback from anything, period. So I'm going to try it out. I haven't really used it, to be honest with you, but it is something that they added to it. And they did, and I don't know if this is added or I just never paid attention to it, but under gain, you have like an attenuator you can turn on, noise gate, which is probably something I should have on, which it looks like it lets you change the settings. There's a line out the phone, so you can change that if it's too, like if it's not, like for me, the line out or line in, they don't have a line in on here. The outs sound great on here. I don't need to touch them really. It's the line. I wish they would set somewhere the line in. And I know you have a dial on the front where you can obviously adjust that. But the one here that I run, that you can, well, you kind of see the cable going there, that I run into, for some reason, is so low on volume. And it's a line in. So I don't see anywhere on here where you could adjust that. It would be nice to adjust that though, for real, so that I could get a better quality sound on that. All this stuff is kind of stuff that's been there already. Okay, let's zoom out. All right, so there you have it. The one thing I did not check, and I don't think it's updated, is we only had 2 octaves on the keyboard. I didn't see them mention this at all, but I would like to see them fix that. At least give us 4 octaves. The ability to use 4 octaves so I can play some more intricate chords and not have to constantly change it's just frustrating. I think they should fix that because people want to be able to play one shots in here and get them spread. I mean, you can do it in Koala, of course. So I think they should at least match that and at least have the ability to play up the octaves a little higher. You need like 1 octave lower and 1 octave higher. That's all you need. From the 2 octaves they have, just expanded 1 octave lower and 1 octave. And that should be plenty, actually, because, I mean, for the most part, what you're going to do. Anything more than that, you need to grab the actual machine. Factory, we don't want to mess with that. That's a reset, so leave that alone. All right. So we talked about quite a bit of stuff. This video has gone on for almost 50 minutes. I'm apologizing in advance if you don't want to, if you skip through, I'll totally understand that. There's a lot of fluff of me talking. I do want to know what that latency thing is so I can show it to you again. I just, to be honest, don't remember where I know where I saw it. I just can't find it in this long list of features to be able to tell you what it is. So that's, yeah, kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, I found it. Ironically, while I'm saying that, improve operational stability latency when playing multiple samples at the same time by holding down value knob and press sub pad. You can minimize the variations in pronunciation. So hold down the velocity. Wait, velocity? No, the value. Okay, the value knob, which is when you press in here and hit sub pad. So you see the latency fix. Can you see that? It doesn't stay on, so I'm just having to keep hitting it until you see it. Latency fix on or off? I'm going to leave it on. That's some weird sounding samples. So I don't know what that's doing. Let's let that play and turn it off. Let's put it on loop. There we go. All right, now I'm going to turn that off. Let's loop another one. No, let's not loop that one. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really hear a difference. Is there, I mean, let's get rid of that. But I don't really know the difference in that. I don't see much of a difference. Maybe somebody can explain it to me better. Operational stability. Okay. Then it says improve the operational stability of the MIDI clock output from the... So maybe they're talking about the MIDI output. But it doesn't... It says playing multiple samples. So that... I don't think that's the same thing. So you can change the startup screen to where, and even your MFX, like mine is set where, oh, I should have showed you that. I'm sorry. Utility. So in the utility now, if you go down to, is it utility or is it import? No, it wouldn't be import. It might be under pad set. Is it under pad set? No, I'm tripping. It's under system. This is where it's at. All right. If you go over to, not MIDI, not click, should be, oh, go into Shift 16, which is your effects settings. Should have known it was there. And under the other tab, so you use your right encoder to get all the way over, you'll see the bottom one down here. It says MFX top. And so it looks like tap, but it says top. And you can pick any effect to be your main effect. Because it used to be, they'd only have like the scatter here. And it's like, wait a minute, I have my scatter under my DJ effects. So now you can pick, and I just put lo-fi because I kind of like that for whatever reason. But yeah, so you can do that. And now that will be set. There's also, I think it's shift mark hold for 3 seconds. So let's say you want this to be, lo-fi, right? So I think it's like this. I'm going to do this way. I'm trying to show it where you can see it. Okay. And I think you hit, yeah. All right. So now it's saved. So every time I open it, no matter if I go away from here or whatever, it's going to be, or shut it down, it's going to be that setting. So you can lock in settings. Like this one right here, I'm going to put them all at 0. Okay. And then I'm going to hit shift mark and save. So now it'll always be 0. And then I can just go in there because like even the lo-fi one gets moved on me sometimes. So I'm going to go lo-fi, turn it on, shift mark, and it's going to save that parameter. So now I don't have to worry about the parameters going haywire on me. They're going to start at this parameter, and then I can just adjust accordingly. So pattern. Okay. I don't know if that's sub mark. I'm going to turn that fix. So there you have it. Oh, let me show you. Turn off the machine so you can see it. That's my Doom stuff on there just for fun. I might switch those around occasionally, but yeah, that's what I got on there right now. All right, so there you go. Same settings. There's isolator still at 0. Still a lo-fi filter. Play it with the lo-fi filter on. Okay, there you have it. All right, so that's it for this video. It's been an hour. I cannot believe I've been sitting here for an hour. Wow. Well, I enjoyed it. Hopefully you did too. Just wanted to show you the different things you can do. So hopefully you enjoyed your SP if you got one. If you haven't got one, this might move you to get one. I only showed you probably a third of what's actually in there. It's like way more than that. I didn't even get into the one-shot playback functions where you could play longer samples and not have them re-trigger. So that's not a thing I would probably use right now. Maybe down the road I will use it more and I'll look into it. I do want to do the automation one with you at some point, but I want to learn it better myself so we don't have a long video of me just rambling about how to, or trying to figure out how to do it while I'm on video. That's something I need, or I want to do. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll learn more, and as I learn more, I'll share what I learned and what I think is cool, what I think is not. Some stuff you can learn from other people. They'll be showing, I'm sure there'll be some people that do videos that are more edited and finding ways. I use those videos myself, to be honest with you. But then I kind of have my own little things that I do that are a slight bit different. So anywho, all right, that's it for this video. Until the next one, I'm out.